Well, it only took 28 films. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm going to review Straw, or Tyler Perry's Straw? Yep, this is on Netflix. It's his second film of the year because this man does not know how to quit. He does not know when to stop. And Duplicity was already released earlier this year. Not a good film. Not a good film. I already have a review of that up. Um, so I fail to be excited for Tyler Perry movies anymore. Click like and subscribe because I actually liked this. I know. Believe me, I'm as shocked as you are. This, while not an achievement in cinema, not some sort of like landmark film. He didn't make a new film classic. He did actually make a good film. Like this film in a thumbs up, thumbs down, rotten fresh world should be fresh thumbs up. Like it when we do that whole black and gray split thing, or black white split, this is in the positive area, which is so weird to be saying for a Tyler Perry movie. And it's not even sort of like nebulous. I think consistently people should be looking at this and going, how do you not watch what the actors are doing and at least feel like you should be sliding this a little bit above, you know? Is it oh yeah, it's got Tyler cannot, he has no idea how to, he owes everything, his life, to Taraji P. Henson right now. Like, I think she made this movie happen. I think what she did is she actually directed it and she knocked him unconscious and went into the editing bay. I think she's the reason why there's actually cast here instead of like a who's who of I don't know what the fuck these people are doing. Like, who are these people? Who are you? You know, which so many Tyler Perry movies have nowadays where he can't get people to sign on to them. Um, Even the 6 AAA, it's like Kerry Washington and, you know, who? But here she's supported by Tiana Taylor. We got Sherri Shepherd. We've got Rockman Dunbar, Sinbad. Sinbad. That's a deep cut. And Glenn Turman, notably in the cast. So, I was thoroughly surprised at how phenomenal Taraji P. Henson is. For right now, at this point in June of 2025, she's my favorite lead actress performance of the year. She is in it. Like, Taraji is all up in this film. She is the reason to watch this film. She is she's amazing. She's I don't know. The whole film, first of all, is just set. It is a bit much. Like, it's one of those films where it leads you. By the way, I don't plan on spoiling The Thing, so don't worry about it. We're not going to talk about it. Some people are going to talk about The Thing. If you Google it too much, so don't look up. There's a thing here, and you don't need to know it. It's actually highly unnecessary for the evolution of the movie and kind of unnecessary to be in the movie at all, but it just it just piles on, and that's kind of the thing. So Taraji is she's Janae, I think that's right. She's Janae, who's a mother. She has a young girl who has health issues, and she has a lot of seizures. Later on in the film, she'll talk about how she was a preemie and that kind of stuff, and she's worried about always getting her child her medicine, but she works these shitty jobs that she gets, like little to no pay from, and she's struggling to pay rent. she's so relatable here. Like a lot of the struggles that she goes through, I feel like people are just gonna be like, yep, that's me. I've done that, been there, done that. Um, she feels bad because she can't put food on the table for every meal. She's one of those parents. She ends up sending her kid to school without a lunch. I guess she doesn't qualify for free school lunches, or she lives in a state where they've revoked those. So again, that's part of the whole thing where we keep sort of taking away money from programs. This is in many ways a plea for like some sort of normalcy in politics again, because this is a real world problem where the struggle is real, you know, and she's by herself and she's just trying to take care of one kid, not, I don't know, 10 or 15 or 20. She doesn't have like a clown car full of children. So the struggle of her just being sort of like a regular, you know, clerk at a grocery store trying to get that money, but also her kid is sick, so she needs her a little bit more, so she's being pulled away to take care of her kid. And then of course child services steps in because they're like, oh, her kid's always hungry at school. It's like, then feed her, you fuckers. Just anyway, don't take her away from her parents because somebody stripped the school of its funding to be able to provide free school lunches to the poor kids. Jesus Christ. Anyway, so and don't shame them either with that shitty like cheese bread thing that some schools get away with, that they try to be like, that's a cheese sandwich. Yeah. Fuck you. So there's that. She has that whole thing to her backstory, and then she gets run off the road by a police officer, which was highly unnecessary. I'm also watching Netflix's Forever, and I know I'm not trying to be, I realize I'm white. I think Forever did a really wonderful job of handling, like, there's a scene, I haven't finished the series, there's a scene where Justin gets pulled over. Well, he pulls over thinking he's about to be pulled over because there's a cop car behind him that flashes lights, but the cop just keeps driving. And you can feel the trepidation that he has in that experience of being like, oh my God, I'm a black male being pulled over by a police officer. Please God. So I don't know that he needed to like ram her off the road. I feel like that's one of the things where Tyler Perry, he has the opportunity to do something sort of like normal, and then he's like, nah, we're gonna go 150%. And it's like, you don't really need to do that. A lot of this stuff just works like simplicity in and of itself. If you just trust what Taraji's doing, she probably would have handled that scene just fine, without the added need of, you know, a cop car running into her and then like being like a racist white police officer who's like, I'm here to be an asshole. That's also another thing which I notice he does quite frequently, and we suck a lot of times as white people, but sometimes it's a bit much. It's a bit heavy-handed when he has all of the white people in these films, in his TV shows, come in and like they're all varying levels of assholes or bitches. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all shitty human beings. And I think the film often misses a gray area to be able to address, this is true about a lot of his projects, in terms of like Latinx culture or Asian American culture or even indigenous culture. He wants to just kind of throw this divide, this line, which makes it look like, as a white critic, that I'm like always hating his movies because I hate the representation of how we are in movies. It's like, no, I can dislike that and then also critique the movie in and around that. So I notice it's a trope that he uses a lot, where all of his white people are obnoxious. All of them. But here he actually has a black guy that's obnoxious too, played by Glenn Turman, who's her boss, who is Best described as character most likely to be punched in the face. AKA, he's just itching for it. I mean, there isn't a single likable, solitary, cool thing about this guy. Every single scene he's in, he is like, he's the character that something bad could happen to, and you're like, we're good. You know, good. He's the character something bad happens to in an audience in a movie theater, and the crowd cheers, even if we're not supposed to. Like, even if it's like, oh, that's highly illegal and totally wrong and against the, I don't care, it happened to him. You know, he got eaten by a serial killer. I don't know. Did you see what he did earlier in the movie? No, he's so cartoonishly villain over the top. It's insane. Um, so she has a really bad, horrible day, and she's getting pulled back and forth between her kid's school. She gets a call from her school, which causes her to have to leave, which she ends up getting fired for because, of course, her boss is an asshole. And then, sort of spoilery, but I have to get you to the bank somehow. So she ends up trying to just get her final paycheck because obviously she lives paycheck to paycheck, so the money matters. And she's in this place where we've already seen, you know, Child Protective Services is worried about whether or not she can feed her kid, and she's being evicted from her apartment and all sorts of things. So like every bit of money matters to her at all times. There's no little amount of money that isn't insignificant. And he's like, well, mail it to her, mail it to you. And she's like, oh, I need it now. And he, you know, he doesn't want to give her the paycheck, even though it's like right fucking there too. Like, that's the thing, is that, so it's like on his desk. And he's just that obnoxious. He's just that shitty of a person. So, at the same time that she's back there trying to get her final paycheck, the store gets robbed. Awful timing. So two random guys walk in, and Taraji's just not having it. She single-handedly beats both of the attackers and shoots and kills them. And then while this is happening, the boss is yelling at her and saying, you planned this, you did this. And so he's calling 911. He's like, I'm being robbed. My employer Janae, she got these people here and they're robbing me. And of course we know that's not true. So she shoots him in the fucking head. Which is the world's greatest thing ever. Greatest fucking thing ever. And so unfortunately she gets a little bit of blood on her paycheck. So then she has to go to the bank and cash it, but then they won't cash it, which then sets up this whole, like, her doing this bank sequence thing where she's robbing the bank and then cops show up and she's losing her mind. So the straw obviously is last straw. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're at your last straw, she's reached that point. She has reached the breaking point. We've been here before with bank robbery movies. We've had a lot of people who have robbed the bank because it's the last, you know, they've been pushed too far. We have these situations, these movies. Tyler Perry is just now doing one. There was that film a couple of years ago with John Boyega in the bank too. And again, very sympathetic situation. So I'm not saying that this is like a unique situation, but there's something about this tried and true formula that works. And what makes it work is Taraji. She's fantastic in this. She is unequivocally, she'd be fantastic in this regardless of who was directing it. This film could be directed by Uwe Boll, and she would still be delivering on all cylinders all the time. It's like this character was born from inside of her, and she understands every problem of this character. She is every mother who has ever struggled, and by God, she's going to put you on screen. So she's backed by two really strong supporting performances. Shockingly, one of them is from Sherri Shepherd, who I did not know had remotely any dramatic chops in her body. But she does. She plays Nicole. She's the bank manager. And she was really good in this movie. Legitimately good. Not good for Tyler Perry, but good in general. And then we also have Tiana Taylor, who has been giving some really strong performances. She also is really good in this movie. Not good for a Tyler Perry movie, but good in general. And she plays sort of like the main police officer who's looking over this thing. Now she's surrounded sort of by cartoonish police officers. Even her boss, Rockman Dunbar, as the chief, kind of comes in, and he's a little bit much at times. Um, so, and then there's Sinbad. Sinbad. The funny thing is, like, I realized Sinbad was in the movie, and I look at who he was, and he didn't make that much of an impact on me. I wasn't like, oh, okay, I was, I cool. No, these three women tell the story of what it's like to be a woman struggling, and fighting for every last scrap and being at your wit's end, and uh, being willing to do literally anything for your child. So one of the things that complicates the situation is that she's carrying around, for reasons unknown, honestly, for reasons unknown, even with the twist revealed, you're like, why are you still carrying this around? She's carrying around her daughter's science fair project, which resembles a bomb. So they think she has a bomb, and she has like a backpack, and it's a clear one. And inside of it is this bomb, but it's not a bomb. So, yeah, so she just wants to cash her check, but she doesn't have any ID, and they won't cash her check, even though they've cashed it for her 1,000 times before. And so this little girl at the window, who is like just following like the rules or whatever, I guess she's been able to successfully cash her check 1,000 times. She's like, me, I'm here all the time. Why won't you cash my check? She doesn't even like pull out the gun that she stole from the bank robbery. That's how she gets the gun. By the way, I had to describe that whole thing, so in case you're like wondering, like, why did you spoil that he gets shot? Because she doesn't just naturally carry a gun around. She's not a bad person. She got the gun from the robbery. Across everything happens for a reason in this movie. Like later on, she's gonna complain. They're gonna be like, why don't you want to come outside? They come outside, and she keeps telling them over and over that the cop that ran her off the road that threatened to kill her if he ever saw her again is literally outside. And she's like, I can't come out while he's still there. Like, she's willing to come out. She's relegated herself to the fact that she fucked up and went too far. But there's a cop. She doesn't want to be shot by the cop, and it gives him every reason to shoot her. So, so basically, Tiana Taylor has to figure out what the hell she's talking about and investigate that. And inside the bank, Sherri Shepherd does a lovely job of sort of managing the situation and being empathetic to Janae. Taraji does a great job of being gone, like emotionally drained. Just she needs like a month at a day spa, to like just get back to like beginning life again. Like, she needs so much help. There's putting her in the system is not not necessarily going to help, especially when you get to the end of the movie and you're like, well, that was what that was. God, you feel bad for her. I felt so much for her. Some of the dialogue gets in that Tyler Perry sort of like cloying dialogue range where you kind of groan. You're like, oh God. He really just, man, he struggles to direct a film anymore. I think it's because he's directing too much and he can't focus. Like, he's doing too many things. He's also producing like 500 TV shows at the same time and trying to save BET from extermination. So like, he's got things for like every streaming service, it seems like. He's just all over the place. Just a couple weeks ago, we had She the People dropped on Netflix. And we've had Beauty in Black within the last year. We've had Duplicity. We had 688 was in December. You know, I mean, like, just in the last calendar year, that's not counting, I can't pay attention to all of his TV shows. I know he's got, like, probably, like, The Oval and, I don't know, some other shows are still airing new episodes that he has to somehow oversee. He has to be overextended, so when he steps behind the camera, he's not seeing anything anymore. He's not noticing, he doesn't notice the little things. So it's amazing that this film is as good as it is, all things considered. It's what the 688 could have been if Carrie had been able to pull it along like Taraji does Straw. And I did go slightly positive on 688. I did go thumbs up. I gave it a C plus. That's a fresh thumbs up rating from me. So it was on the low end, which is still good for a Tyler Perry movie. This I'm pretty solid on. I actually liked this and it moved me. So it just has problems. It does, and I can't ignore that. As much as I would love to say that Straw, I think under a different director, like if Tyler Perry had directed this and been like, shit, I'm a terrible director, and then called up, I don't know, like Spike Lee and been like, can you fix this? And then it suddenly became like a co-direction between it. Spike would have fixed it. You know what I'm saying? He would have been like, cut this, change this, we're going to change that, reshoot this. I mean, there's enough here that a better director with an eye for what to keep and what not to keep would have edited the film into like a tour de force performance for Taraji P. Henson and she'd be not Oscar nominee. I believe that. I think it's within this film's capabilities, but not within his. He's still very limited, and the fact that he feels the need to constantly put more in, he just keeps trying. You know, he just keeps trying to like put more toppings on. He's like the person who gets ice cream and you're like, where's the ice cream? And it's just, it's like, it's all out. It's like, did you just get like a jar of toppings? Did you forget the ice cream? I feel like that's like a Tyler Perry movie where he just keeps putting things in there. It's like, dude, you forgot the ice cream. Oh, I knew I forgot something. Shit. So, yeah, Straw is way better than any Tyler Perry movie I've seen recently. I've been able to go through his films before, including I Can Do Battle by Myself, and say that's a great performance from Taraji P. Henson. Movie's not great. Taraji's good in it. Even his first movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, I thought Kimberly Elise was terrific in that movie. Did not like the movie, but I liked her in it. So he has a couple of actresses have been able to take his work and give fantastic performances. But here, there's something that's a little bit closer to being actually solid. And Taraji is supported by at least two performers that I really admired. And based on the direction he was probably given, honestly, Glenn Turman did a great job of being a complete and total asshat. Just 100% over the top. So I'm going to give Straw B. I think that's the highest grade I've ever given a Tyler Perry movie before. It might be. This might be me saying this is the best Tyler Perry movie I've ever seen. The audio description was done by Descriptive Video Works. They kind of changed it up. And it was fine. It's weird that the writer wasn't credited, because DVW gets writers credited, and I've heard writers credited for other Tyler Perry movies. Here they only credited the narrator, which was so weird to me. It kind of just, I was like, what? Because I've seen so many other Tyler Perry movies, and it's like written by, narrated by, and he has consistently great audio description for some reason. I don't understand. Everything from Beauty and Black to She the People, all of his things are really well audio described. So I'm not saying that this isn't well audio described. I'm saying I think maybe some of his other stuff just has more to it than this. It wasn't my favorite track. I do kind of prefer Sri Gordon's voice on the Tyler Perry movie. she's done a lot of them. So, but this is, you know, maybe more appropriate. I don't know. It didn't top the other Tyler Perry movies for me. There have been some really excellent ones. I really liked um, Mea Culpa's audio description, for example. There was a lot of weird shit to describe in that movie. So it's fine. No, it's good. It's just not going to be where I'm gonna like slot it as probably one of the best audio description tracks of the year. So I actually think Duplicity might have had a better audio description track. But anyway, why isn't the writer credited? That's so weird. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.